And welcome. This is Undeadmuffin, and I am here because so many people request for me to try to show them my technique for making monsters. So there are a few requirements. One, I use Infinite Painter. There is a free version with limited layers that you can use. I'm also using a Tab S6 Lite, but I I started doing this technique back on my Galaxy Note 5, and then when I started on TikTok, where most of y'all are probably coming from, I was using my Note 9, Note 9. I couldn't remember there for a moment. So you don't have to have those as long as you have an Android program that will run Infinite Painter, because that's the best one that I know of that allows you to use the smudge tool. That'll be probably for the better. You could try to use these techniques in other art programs, but I've tried it a number of times and it has not worked out much in the way of how I like it to work. Man, I'm stammering like a stammering dummy. Okay, so, and another thing you need to bring into this is an imagination. If you can't look at the clouds and make out shapes, I'm sorry, it's going to be very difficult for you to use this technique to make monsters, because that's basically, you're going to be making clouds, sorta. You're going to be making metaphorical clouds, and then finding monsters in them. But I have to start you on the basics. And in order to do that, what we're going to use is this dry ink brush for everything. For everything. This is to put down the initial black ink. We're going to have it on the smudge tool, dry ink. And yeah, that's where we're going to go from, because it is best to train yourself with one brush, at least in my opinion and from my experience, than getting overly excited and trying to toss in all, there we go, all of these other brushes. There are hundreds. You can make your own. You can go to the community tab and download them. But I would suggest trying to learn with one brush. And then after you learn, find a brush that's comfortable for you. That's another thing I want to talk about, is that when it comes to choosing your art program, it's really about what is most comfortable to you. A lot of people do not like Infinite Painter. I can understand. It's buggy. I am right now in fear that it's going to crash. However, it's what works for me, and it's best for the smudging, in my opinion. All right, so first things first. Let's make the brush larger than that. Just random size. Let's get some ink down here. Oh yeah. We're going to make a ball. Oh, that's boring. Well, we got to start somewhere. So, let's make a circle. And this is going to teach you lighting. Now, what we're going to do, I'm going to make another layer here so we can keep track of this, is our lighting is coming from this direction, from this corner. All right. Now, we can make another layer and go off the black and do this. Oop, there's my color. And there's the light. And here's something interesting that a lot of people tend to forget when they're telling people how to do shading. All right, my last recording just messed up. All right, so a lot of people tend to forget to mention about light and how it bounces when they start teaching people how to draw a ball. They just want you to have high contrast one side and between the two sides, right? I know this is boring, but this stuff we have to get. So let's make a surface here. It doesn't have to be pretty. This is where our ball is resting. Not the best ball, but it's a ball nonetheless, right? Okay, now I messed up, but it doesn't matter. We'll go here, choose a slightly lighter color, not as light as this one. Let's add another layer. Now you can do all this on one layer, and sometimes it's best to do things on one layer. But as you can see, you have a bounce light there. Now we're going to grab the smudge tool. Not used to narrating what I'm doing, so please excuse me. And let's go back onto our brighter layer. No, that's not wide enough. Make that wider. And let's start pulling this color out. This very light gray out into the black. And we can just swirl it out. Smudge this out. Don't keep the same tone all the way across. You want to lighten it up. You want to lighten it up just like this. You can already see a 3D effect here, right? So now let's drop down to this other layer and let's work on our bounce light. I don't know if that's the correct term. I should say I'm not a professional artist. I don't really know the correct terms, and that's going to make a lot of people angry. But frankly, people want to know how I do this. So I'm going to try. You want to learn actual techniques. There's a lot of other YouTube videos out there. Mine are my videos are not the ones that you need to be looking at to learn how to be professional or use professional terms. Now, I'm noticing a little problem here. Our bounce light is almost the same color as the lower end light. So I wanted to lower the opacity of that layer. That's the reason why I stuck it on a different layer. And so I could change things up like that. And we can go ahead and merge that down to save space for people using free version. In fact, let's merge it down here onto our ground. All right, so here we have this ball that, for all intents and purposes, looks sort of three-dimensional. We can go in, clean that up. This might be the only place I'm going to use a different brush. I'm going to use the manga brush because when you're cleaning this stuff up, you want a nice, sharp edge. So this is called the manga inker. I called it the manga brush. These are all default brushes. I've not changed them in any way. All right, now let's zoom in here. Let's make this look all nice and pretty. Now, there's a lot of things that you can use to help you out in Infinite Painter, but I am trying to teach you all how I started off, and one of the things I started off was refusing to use any of those things because I was a pretentious person. I wanted to be able to say, hey, I did all this on just 2 layers and didn't use any extra things. If you watch my TikTok, you know I don't do that stuff now. Now this is getting a little sloppy, but I have less control because of the screen recording. It's using up a lot of memory. I think I forgot to turn off. Yeah, I forgot to turn this off, so this might help. Bloop. Don't need double recordings. Alright, so as you can see, we have this nice sharp edge. Now this doesn't look natural, does it? Doesn't look natural. Well, and you got to make a little mistakes. Don't worry about it. There's an undo right down here. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Well, where's that? There we go. You can also use fingers. It's double tap. 2 fingers for undo, 3 fingers for redo. I don't use that often, but now that I'm on a tablet, it seems very beneficial. All right, so here's the thing. The light doesn't seem intense enough. So let's go down here. I made another layer if you didn't see that. Let's pick white, tap out, and brush in this. Oh, why is it not going down? Oh, there it is. All right. So we brush down some white and do as before. Smudge it out. But this time, let's smudge it towards the edge. because we want the part closest to the light source to be the brightest. Okay, and smudgy smudge, smudgy smudge. And it's not pretty, but here's the thing. My art, even if you like it, it's not pretty. The technique is sloppy, and that's what you're learning is some sloppy technique. Now let's merge this down. So, we have a nice little ball here. We can go in and we can fiddle around with our values by smudging around in between, trying to blend. It's not the best contrasting ball, but, oh no, still not used to tilted brush. Okay. It's not the best in contrast, but we have enough to pass. Okay. So, this is your basics. Practice this. Practice this until you can have a ball that looks decently well lit. Remember, I'm going to switch my tools here. I'm going to go with the manga inker. This is not part of the lesson. Well, I mean, this is part of the lesson, but you don't have to do this. Remember, when your light source is coming from one direction, right? It is beaming down, out and away, down, down, boom. And when it hits a surface, it bounces up, boom. See, I'm even seeing where I didn't get a little bit of light down here. So what I can do, just go back down to that layer and smudge this down. Smudge down some lightness. And there we go. It's not the best. I'm just doing it in a hurry here because you all want to get to making monsters. Am I correct? So, do this ball this way. And look at that. Look at that. And light passes behind things, bounces off of things. So, you know, you have to imagine we have, let's switch it over so we don't get our things mixed up. I don't know why I chose red to represent that. But here we have a shadow. Light's coming from that direction. This ball is casting a shadow. So, we can pull up black. And, oh, I drew on the ball. Didn't mean to. Oh, well. We can put the shadow out here. You know, and draw some of the shadow up onto the ball here. But remember, bounce light. So any light that passes back here is going to bounce off in all these directions. So you're not going to have solid blacks on this side of the ball. All right. Underside, yeah, you can have some of that. There's some color theory that I'm not too good at that you can go out there and learn how to take care of it. But your main source of light is here. Bloop. And your darkest point is on the opposite side because of the shadow. And if you want to rotate the ball, you can do your lightest point here, dark around the edges. It's just all up to you. So tackle this, and in the next video, we'll start making monsters.